Hello again guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is part 3 of our Airbus tutorial series, and in this video we'll be pushing back, starting the aircraft and then preparing for the takeoff as we taxi out to the holding point. I do hope you enjoy the video. If you do, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. That really helps me out. And if you have any comments or questions for me, please leave them down in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks very much and I hope you enjoy the video. So just as a reminder, we are now ready for the push and start. We're a few minutes early, but air traffic control has cleared us for the push, runway 27. Once we have our clearance, we can turn the beacon on to let the ground crew know we'll be starting the engines. Check that the thrust levers are idle and confirming that the doors are closed. TCAS can go to on. With that done, we do the before start checklist below the line. So harness secure, ATC is set, windows, doors closed, beacon on, thrust levers idle, and the park brake is on. The before start checklist complete. So we'd call the ground, confirm with them that the doors are closed. They would confirm that, and then they would ask us to release the parking brake. Parking brake is off and they would commence the pushback. At some point during the pushback, the ground crew would clear us to start the engines. So engine 1 start. And we monitor the engine start on the EWD. So once the ground crew has completed the pushback, they would inform us and we would then be asked to turn the parking brake back on. We'd check that the aircraft is stationary and we would set the parking brake. Good start on engine 1, so we can now start engine 2. That was a good start on engine 2. Once both engines have started and stabilised, we start the stopwatch. We need at least 5 minutes before takeoff to allow the engines to warm up and for the temperatures to stabilise. Engine master goes back to normal and the APU can go off. Meanwhile, the pilot monitoring would reset the rudder trim, arm the spoilers, set the flaps as required. Today it's a flap 1 takeoff, and set the trim as required. Today down 1.0. Come up to the doors page and we check that the cabin crew have armed the slides. With all that done, we can release the ground crew. They would remove the ground steering pin and any other ground equipment and then give us a signal to show us that the pin has been removed and that they are clear. Next we run the after start checklist. So anti-ice is off, ECAM status checked, pitch trim, down 1.0, rudder trim 0, and the ground crew are clear. That's the after start checklist complete. So we can call for taxi.
East Midlands ground, Midland 289er with information, India, west taxi, IFR. Midland 289er, taxi holding point search runway 27. Contact tower on 124.0 when ready. Taxi, hold short runway 27, Midland 289er.
It's cleared us to taxi for runway 27. He hasn't actually told us which taxiway, but we're on Quebec right now, so I'll assume we take Quebec and then Alpha for the runway 27. So releasing the park brake, taxi light can go on and runway turn off lights on, checking that the aircraft is clear from vehicles and any other objects. Sometimes just need a little bit of thrust to get the aircraft moving. And we'll come round to the right onto taxiway Quebec. So this is taxiway Quebec. And just tapping the brakes to check they're working. And we'll slow down. We don't want to turn at more than around 10 knots. For taxiing we aim to be at 10 knots in the turn and 30 knots or below on the straight sections of taxiway. And we're on Alpha now, so we just taxi all the way down to the end for runway 27. Once we're clear of the apron, we can continue with the workflow for the takeoff. So the first thing we do is check the flight controls. Pull up, pull down, neutral, pull left, pull right, neutral. We would also check the rudder, but I don't have a disconnect nose wheel steering button, so if we tried to do that currently, then the nose wheel steering would also be actuated and we'd end up spearing off the taxiway, so we won't do that. Pilot monitoring would then check his flight controls. Once he's happy with that, he would then go terrain on ND on his side, max auto brake, takeoff config test, and turn the weather radar on. Next we go through the departure brief. So it's runway 27 East Midlands, Daventry 3 November departure. Straight ahead for 1 mile and then a left turn, climb nav blue 6000. Before takeoff checklist, load sheet acknowledged, flight controls checked, flight instruments checked, briefing confirmed, flap setting is config 1, V-speed thrust it's 148,150 and flex. And the ECAM memo, take off no blue. That is down to the line. We can seat the cabin crew, although we can already see that the cabin is ready. And we'll tune over to tower and tell them we're ready. 1240 for the tower. You can see now we're just coming up on our 5 minutes for the engine warm-up, so that's worked out quite nicely. And we'll start slowing down for the turn. Obviously during the taxi in real life we'd be keeping a very good visual lookout in all directions. Just due to the way that the viewing works in the Aerosoft Airbus, it's pretty difficult. Okay, we're just at the holding point now. We set the parking brake. 5 minutes has gone. We're now ready for the takeoff. However, we'll pause the video here and we'll come back in part 4 for the takeoff and the climb. So there you go guys, we're now at the holding point for runway 27. In the next video we will commence the takeoff and then carry out all the procedures until top of climb. Once again, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. And again, if you have any comments or questions for me, please leave them down in the comment section below. Thanks very much, and I'll see you all again soon.